Welcome to my channel, everyone. So today is another kind of update because we're going to talk about every single coin. Usually I'm doing 3 updates a day to the altcoins and Bitcoin on your right side. In this video, since yesterday's update, nothing much happened. So basically I can do a quick update to every single coin in one video. In addition to that, we will also talk about a lot about the RSI and also about the Bitcoin dominance. And if you also wish to get an analysis for a specific coin or stock, you can also ask me. I have currently Gala and Aero on my list, but for those kind of coins, I'm not going to do a short-term analysis. I'm doing like on the 4 or 8 hour daily chart to measure some bullrun tops. Why that? Because I'm not actively trading those coins. And if I don't actively trade them, then I can't tell you like how the short-term price movement is going to be. Yeah, it's, I think, in every single area in our life, it's always learning by doing. And if you trade them actively on the short time frame, then over the time you get familiar with the coin and with its movements, with fake outs and so on and so on. Since I don't trade Gala and Aero, for example, I can't give you like short-term analysis in my opinion. That's why I would just focus on higher timeframes. So with that said, we would just start with Bitcoin. I have started a video before, but my laptop said no, I'm going to cancel the recording, so I have to do everything again. So what we see for Bitcoin is much more weaker than the other coins. Yeah, we will look over every single altcoin on your right side and you will see something. Bitcoin is not having a bullish consolidation. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin is bearish. It just means that the altcoins look far more bullish and they have some time to shine, while Bitcoin is not having that strength, in my opinion, to get massive pumps. In my opinion, 120,000, so this fair value gap, which you can see here in those 2 price marks, realistic in my opinion. We have a fair value gap even up to 123,200 US dollar. What I think is kind of interesting, for that we have to switch into the 4 hours chart. We have here in orange a rising wedge with 3 touch points on the upper trend line. I can imagine, and we have set our bull market top 130,000 US dollar. This is just going to move to the upside over the time. So basically currently it's 132,000 US dollar. Where are we? We are right now here. So 132,300 US dollar over the time. Yes, it can even go up to 140,000 US dollar. So if we just look into it and we say Bitcoin is not that bullish, but you say Bitcoin can still go to 130k or even above, that's 15%. Yes, that's true. But if we look over the altcoins, they have much more potential than just 15%. And we see that in the Bitcoin dominance. So within the Bitcoin dominance, we just had a falling wedge before. I don't know if I can find, I deleted it in the last video, which got cancelled. So we had this falling wedge here on the chart. So from up here, I think it was. Yeah, it looks like this. It broke to the downside. So if we zoom in, I think you can't see it on YouTube because the quality is not the best always. So we broke it here to the downside and retested it. I can take this one out of the chart. And we are on the way down. We had our bearish pennant, which broke to the downside, target, in my opinion, 57.08%. And a decreasing Bitcoin dominance. Okay, I have to do it again here. A Bitcoin, falling Bitcoin dominance doesn't mean that the coins are going to drop. So if you don't know what the Bitcoin dominance is, it's actually telling us the overall crypto market has a market cap. So at the moment of the all crypto market, 58.23%, you can see it here on your right side, is in Bitcoin. So if we have, for example, $1 billion in the whole crypto space, $58 million is currently in Bitcoin. There we have far more, but it's just an example. And if the Bitcoin dominance is dropping, then Bitcoin loses its market share. It doesn't actually mean that if the Bitcoin dominance is dropping, that Bitcoin is also going to drop. Most people think, okay, if the Bitcoin dominance drops, then people take their profit from Bitcoin and put it into altcoins. That's true. But what can also happen is that people are putting more money into the crypto exchanges. So the overall crypto market is expanding in its market cap because more money gets into the crypto exchanges and people pump up more money into their accounts, like from their bank account into the crypto account. And instead of buying Bitcoin, they are buying altcoins. So Bitcoin can still go up and the Bitcoin dominance can still decrease. What happens is, if Bitcoin is going to drop, for example, like this, in the past, with a high Bitcoin dominance, we have seen if Bitcoin drops 1%, the altcoins are most likely dropping 3%. Maybe Ethereum just 2%, but mid caps to low caps or even large caps like XRP and Solana, they usually drop 3 to 5% in average. With a decreasing Bitcoin dominance, maybe they are going to drop less than Bitcoin or similar to Bitcoin. So not anymore 3 to 5%, maybe 1 to 3%. There is a huge difference. But if Bitcoin goes up by 1%, I have drew this here before, the altcoins make this. So if Bitcoin goes up for 1%, then the altcoins might even win 3 to 7% with a decreasing Bitcoin dominance. And for that, the Bitcoin dominance needs to drop far more. And that's the altcoin season. I also think that we are in the beginning of an altcoin season. In my opinion, the altcoin season already started. But what is the altcoin season? The altcoin season is not that every altcoin is just pumping up 100, 200%. It's not like this. It says BTC, people are taking profits from there and they put it into Ethereum. So what did we see lately? We have seen a complete outperformance from Ethereum against Bitcoin. Ethereum just did a new all-time high. When Jerome Powell spoke, we can just look how much Bitcoin went up. For that we have to go into Bitcoin, actually. Here was the speech of Jerome Powell. From the lowest point to the highest point, it was somewhere here. So let's say 5%. If we now look over Ethereum, then we can actually see from the lowest point here, 16%. So Ethereum did 3 times more than Bitcoin in its gains in percentage. Ethereum is in its all-time high. And yes, Ethereum has more space to the upside, and I will talk about that once we get to Ethereum. So afterwards, what happens then is, once the push for Ethereum is done, it's going into the next large caps. XRP, Solana. If XRP and Solana are done with their push, then it's going into the next coins and the next coin, and it goes down to the micro caps. So with that said, Bitcoin gets outperformed by Ethereum since a longer while. Yeah, it's not just while Jerome Powell spoke. Since a longer while, the Bitcoin dominance is dropping. We see Ethereum at its all-time high. The other coins are still down. Okay, maybe XRP is not the best example, but we can still see it. Look at the tops right here. We are still down 17% from the top, and for the other coins, we can even see far more than this. But Ethereum is already up here, far higher than their tops before. So basically we already see a complete outperformance from Ethereum, and I think the next coins are going to be XRP and Solana. This is just my speculation for that. Some people are already saying, yeah, we are in the altcoin season. In my opinion, yes, we are, but it doesn't mean that we are just going to pump up. We can look over, let's say, Dogecoin, for example, on the weekly time frame. And I will just show you something. So we can see this here was the altcoin season, 2021. Within that altcoin season, the altcoin season already started here. We got a price correction of 52%. It doesn't look much, but it's 52%. Afterwards, what we got here, look what happened. From the top here to the bottom, 64%. Just to do afterwards, over the next 2 weeks, from down below here to the top. Where is the top? Here's the top. I can see it now. 350%. This is the altcoin season. So yes, within the altcoin season, we can also sell off 50, 60, 70%. It is possible. So back to Bitcoin. So we have talked about the complete outperformance from the altcoins to Bitcoin because of the decreasing Bitcoin dominance. And I think it's also going to drop more. Bitcoin is not looking bullish at the moment, but still we are in a bullish cycle. So basically Bitcoin can go up more. It's not bearish. It's just not that bullish. So basically I can still imagine that since Bitcoin is not forming any kind of bullish chart pattern, where I would say it can develop to a bullish chart pattern. I don't see it at the moment. We are selling off far too sharp for that. So if I want to draw something, like how is this going to work? If we look over the altcoins shortly, then you will see what I mean. I think $114,800, we have communicated it yesterday. It's a support, but the fair value gap reaches down to $112,680 with a high chance we should get there somewhere in this area, and then we can expect higher prices. The RSI also, this is what is very interesting. We were overbought yesterday with this push, and over the weekend we want to see a consolidation where we cool down the RSI, and we cooled it down. If we also look right here and we compare it to the tops on this side, the price was down below here. The current price at the same RSI level is up here. Positive. Still positive, but not that positive as, for example, Ethereum. So Ethereum looks far more bullish in my opinion. I have just drew here in the last video some kind of a bull flag which can develop in my opinion. But Bitcoin is already somewhere here, while Ethereum is up there. So basically Ethereum is outperforming. And if we also look, I have explained the same like I have said for Bitcoin. Look at the RSI. We are currently right here. And let's compare it to the left-sided tops. We were at $4,370. 2 times. One time here and another time here, where the RSI was at the same level. The RSI is at the moment the same like we had on the tops here, $4,370, but look where the price is, $4,750, so $400 more than before. What I want to see is getting the RSI even more down. We are currently at the RSI of 60. I want to see a neutral RSI, so 50, maybe even a bit less, like down to 40. This would be very good if we get the RSI to 40, while we are still within a bull flag. Because then we have so much space to the upside. You can see it, we started here from an RSI of 43, right here, and we got this push afterwards. We started here with an RSI of 43, got our 15%, and if we afterwards do the same movement to the upside, and I just say, okay, we are going to sell off to 4,555 because there is support, realistic, and we are thinking about 15% to the upside. Oh, I can't even do it here. Ah, yes, I can. How much is it? 5,250 US dollar if we just take this. If we now form a bull flag over the time and we are going to break it to the upside, then we can actually take this whole price movement and we put it then to the breakout point. For sure, now the bull flag is going to miss. It's missing, yes, but with a high chance we are going to develop it. It's just my speculation for that. And the price here says it's just for an example, 5,370 US dollars. So the area between 5,300 to 5,500 US dollars is going to get very realistic if we form a bullish chart pattern. So basically Ethereum has far more space to the upside, and if really Bitcoin goes to 130k, 135k, or even 140k, Ethereum should overshoot that target, but somewhere, like, I don't want to say that we have so much space to the upside. Like, Ethereum is still more bullish, but Ethereum already made its gains. If we compare Ethereum to the other coins, then you will see that the other coins didn't do that gains. They are going to get those gains, in my opinion, because the altcoin season started already. It's just going to be slow, and nobody is going to see that, in my opinion. And once the altcoin season is topping out and we just get a few more gains, then everyone wakes up and thinks, oh, we are currently in an altcoin season. Yeah, good morning. We are in an altcoin season, and then you start to invest, and then the bear market comes. So be careful with that. So Ethereum looks good. We are forming a bullish chart pattern. Same for XRP. So I have just drew here some kind of a bull flag which is not valid yet. Why that? Because for a valid bull flag, I want to see 2 touch points at least on the upside. On the upside, yes, we have 2 touch points, but on the downside, I also want to see 2 touch points. And it really matters now, because we can also overshoot the bull flag. It's not long then. I just can do the angle of that bull flag a bit more different, and then we should still sell off into that fair value gap. But in my opinion, Bitcoin has the chance to fill the whole fair value gap. I think XRP is going to fill just 50% of the fair value gap, and we already see it. Right here was the start of that fair value gap, and we already closed a bit of it. I want to see the same down below here within a bull flag. For sure, this bull flag can still change. If I see then a bull flag and we get the RSI so nice down, like it looks really nice to me, the RSI is cooling off a lot while the price is not getting far lower. If we then get from here a second touch point, break the bull flag to the upside, then yes, hallelujah, XRP will get gains with a very high chance, in my opinion. So, still bullish consolidation, looks good. So, Solana said, no, I don't care about the take profit area of KG investing, $199 to $201.70. We went there. We also got rejected there, but this was just a small pullback. We went for a higher top. So we have said yesterday that this area is going to get very interesting. From there, we should expect some kind of an bullish consolidation. I would just say, instead of starting it from here, we are just going to start from up here. The RSI is still overbought. It didn't cool down that much. It happens because we still got another push to the upside. Normal. I just think that we are going to get our bullish consolidation starting from now. I doubt that we are actually going to overshoot that $208 again tomorrow or in the next 2 days. I think we are going to get the consolidation now and then hopefully break it to the upside, get more gains for Solana, and then we can measure new targets. And also here, if we look, $244 to $255 US dollars going to get very interesting there. And if we are really going to form a bull flag and we just do it approximately, like for example here, the breakout point, then we are even a bit nearer to that area. So if we now look over SUI, also similar to Solana, we still get a slightly higher top. And now I think maybe this is the bull flag where we are looking for. If we get here rejected now, and yes, we are going to get our first red candle, but for sure it can still get a bit more up and then sell off into the fair value gap, not closing everything. I don't want to see SUI going down below here. I want to see SUI getting at some kind of support. And what I think is interesting are those lows here. Like this. Yeah, okay, it's a bit messed up, but if I use this, it's right here. So basically, if I see SUI getting there, very positive, and from here we can start a nice push. The price mark is going to be the $3.51. I will also give you here the price mark, and I'm going to do it here a bit better. So like this. This looks good to me. Also, RSI is cooling down a bit better than Solana right now, but I want to see the RSI getting down even more, and then we can start a nice rally to the upside. Avalanche also, I didn't expect that. In yesterday's video we have said $25.67 realistic. If we break it to the upside, I'm not going to long it, because the next target is going to be $26.50 to $26.86. Look where we went. I will just put you here the price, trend line, like this, perfectly into our take profit area. Personally, didn't expect this to be happened. I was thinking we are going to get rejected, fill a bit of the fair value gap, and then get into that area. Since we already got this push, the consolidation which we are going to get is going to be far more bullish afterwards. If we then get a bull flag, here is another target, $28. Since we broke the $25.70 to the upside, the next target is going to be the $27.90. Here's the price tag, or even $28. Do I still think that we are going to see a clean breakout? No, we are not going to see that. But if we see a bullish consolidation with a bull flag or a falling wedge, then the $28 are the next target if we break it to the upside, and afterwards here the $30 are going to get very interesting. And then we can already see it. We have so many fair value gaps. So in my opinion, if we get more bullish chart patterns, we can even reach for far higher prices. The setup is there. We just have to get the bullish chart patterns. Also here, a nice cooldown in the RSI. If we now look over HBAR, this is what we have drew here, like a small bull flag, which we should develop. Yeah, it's a bit too small. I can just put it here, like this. And then we want to see the breakout over it, and then it's going to work. In my opinion, we are still missing the second touch point on the downside, or even a third touch point. So I can still imagine that the bull flag is going to develop like this, where we fill a bit more of the fair value gap, and maybe on Monday we have seen our low somewhere here, and then push to the upside. Next target 26.7 cents, but I think the chance is even really high that we should see the 27 cents and 27.6 cents if it also breaks to the upside. 32 cents in my opinion for HBAR. If we now look over Dogecoin, Dogecoin also looks very good to me. Maybe we can draw here a bull flag. I don't like the angle here, so I have to take another one. But actually, this one looks far better. So basically we have the good chance getting into the fair value gap here again. Touch the bull flag from the downside again. If I see a better bull flag from a better angle, then for sure I'm going to adjust that bull flag. But if it breaks afterwards to the upside, in my opinion, target is going to be 26 cents. If we also break it to the upside, it's going to be very positive for Dogecoin. Also here a nice cool down in the RSI. Look, the price is even almost the same like we had here in the top, but the RSI went from 77 to 57, which is very good. Render also looks like to me that we can form here a nice bull flag, like for example this, or if we do it a bit more sharper, then like this. So basically also here a good chance to get back into the $3.70. I can also imagine, since we have so many long positions still open and a huge fair value gap, that we are going to wick lower than that, but I hope to see another touch point on the downside of that bull flag for this push. So the $3.70 are just going to get like the stop losses, and the liquidity is just going to get fished in my opinion, and from here a quick buy up. I think that support is going to hold with a very short-term price wick lower than that. So keep that in mind. Not that you think we are perfectly bouncing on $3.70. Also here, nice cooldown in the RSI. TAO also. For TAO, I'm not going to do a long trade. We have said about TAO, falling wedge. And yes, that falling wedge broke to the upside. What I don't like is the fair value gap. This one right here. And we don't formed another bullish chart pattern yet. I still want to wait for it. That's why I will wait for it until I see a nice chart pattern. For TAO, I still hope that we are going to see a slightly higher high and then sell off, because afterwards the angle of that bull flag is going to be far better, because for now we can't do much right here, like which top. This is not, in my opinion, a bull flag, but if we get a better angle, and this is just possible if we get another push and we put it here, then we have a far better angle, and then we are going to get into the fair value gap, filling it a little bit, and then afterwards a nice push. I can already give you the target for TAO. For that we have to zoom out. Take here, I just have to check if it's going to be the normal target. Yeah, I put here the normal target, not the mid-range target. And we just put it here to the breakout point. It's going to be 406 US dollar. 404 US dollar is going to be far better in my opinion. And also, if we sell off, then we also have to adjust the target to the lowest point where we actually get, and then the target is going to move. So basically right now it's 406 US dollar, but we have extreme resistance at 404 US dollar. For that I think we have to go into the 4-hour chart. Yes, exactly. You can see how often we got rejected there and how often we got a positive price movement to the upside, because this is a huge support trend line. But if it's a huge support trend line, then it's also going to be huge resistance if we come from the downside. So in those cases right here, we came from the upside. We came from the upside, came to 404 US dollar, and we got a nice bounce. We came here from the upside, got a quick bounce. We came here again from the upside, got a quick bounce. If we come from the downside, we get here a bounce. Here same, look what happened, the bounce. And this bounce was even a lot. So breaking those 404 US dollar to the upside is going to be very positive. Target then, I would even say $500 if they also break to the upside. I think like if we don't get any kind of different data, 803 US dollar is currently my maximum target for TAO for this bull run. So there is still potential over 100%, I think even 120%. Let's measure it quick. So if we take it from the current price, so it's 126%. And if we just take the lowest price target, which is the 680 US dollar, it's still 87% without any kind of leverage. And if you want to trade it, or if you want to see analysis to that, then subscribe, and I will do TAO daily in my updates, so you don't miss anything. What about Kaspa? Kaspa also nice cooldown. Here we have Druid, bullish consolidation. I don't see it at the moment because let me take this one out so we can look a bit better. Because we don't see a nice angle. What I want to see now is a nice push and afterwards selling off a bit more, and then we get our nice wanted bull flag, or I think even this can develop as a rising falling wedge, like this for example. Then we break it to the upside. Current target 9.7 cents, but I think we can look for higher prices in my opinion. Even though we don't have a chart pattern at the moment, I still expect 10 cents. This top is going to get very interesting in my opinion for the current data which we have. If we form for sure different kind of chart patterns which look bullish, then we can push also to the upside. And yes, I also have to clean the chart a bit. So what about ONDO? So ONDO did a slightly higher high. So basically this kind of bull flag which we have drew here, I think it's just going to happen. It looks like it, and ONDO looks the best in my opinion. So if I just take this one, so if we don't get a higher high, then the angle of that bull flag is actually very interesting in my opinion. So we already have 3 touch points on the upper part, 1 touch point on the lower part. For sure, if this is going to be a bit more higher, then I can also adjust that a little bit more. I think this is going to get very interesting. If we then get here support, then I think we don't even have to sell off much into that fair value gap. The setup looks like it. And then we can get nice gains. Target $1.07.5 from this falling wedge. And afterwards $1.13. 8-hour chart maybe? Yes. So the 8-hour chart is it. $1.13. If we break it to the upside, then the target is still ongoing from the double bottom pattern. $1.60, and this in orange, big falling wedge, $1.80 for ONDO. And for sure, we have more space to the upside. We just have to develop more chart patterns so I can measure it. If we don't get new chart patterns and we just continuing getting price movements like this, then for sure it can go up far more. But then it's just not tradable with my setup. So with that said, I hope that I gave you some valuable information with this update. This update, I insisted to do this update because I wanted just to show you how the RSI is going to work and how the overlapping structure is actually very bullish. And I think we are in a good overall bullish cycle. In my opinion, the correction is done. The correction which we have seen here, where we come from up here to down here, where everyone got scared off. I think it is actually done. We got the first sign of a massive push. We should see the consolidation, and afterwards we should continuing getting the push. The only thing which can actually invalidate everything is going to be the Fed in 3 weeks, round about 3 weeks. I think it's 24 days in the future. So if they are not going to cut rates, then we might even sell off a lot, maybe even 20% within a few hours. We have seen it when the Bank of Japan raised their rates from, I think, I don't know if it was 0% to 0.15%, or but it was very low. They just increased their rates by 0.15% or something like this. So not even much. It was still very low, but the market sold off 15 to 20%. Even Bitcoin sold off that much at this day. So basically, with that said, we see each other tomorrow. If I don't see any kind of chart patterns, then I might keep you updated on the community post. But I think until tomorrow, we have enough time to develop those bull flags. And then I have at least some good chart patterns on the chart where we can track some breakouts and new price targets. With that said, see you tomorrow.